Hey up everyone. Yes, it's silly season again, and undoubtedly you've seen some of the multitude of EICMA and Motorcycle Live videos if you didn't go there yourself. I thought I would let the clamour quieten down a bit and the dust settle before I said too much. I may come back and do some videos on a few bikes and brands that stand out for me, and if there are any specific bikes you want me to do a video on, just let me know in the comments. But I have a question. Do you think Motorcycle Live and EICMA are still relevant? Or are they just a big jolly for industry bigwigs to go and pat each other on the back and tell each other how wonderful they all are? Like it or not, we live in a world where instant and personalised communication is the norm. Companies have rightly begun to value that direct form of communication and strive to tailor it as best they can to the individuals it is sent to. I am bombarded on a daily basis by model updates and sneak previews of bikes that are coming in the not-too-distant future. We have already known about most of the so-called new releases for ages, although most of these new releases aren't actually ready in dealerships yet. The Kove 800X adventure bike has been promised and the design is looking more finished now. I have been told the first production run for Europe is underway and they should be available from February, so fingers crossed. All specs look pretty close to the prototype, and most importantly, the weight is still quoted as being lighter than any of the competition. The rally version does look like a very stripped back bike, and I'm still hoping this is worth the wait. We knew that BMW were bringing an all-new 1300 GS, because as we all know, 1250cc's just wasn't big enough anymore. Barely out of the show, and we already have a pile of faults being reported. That fabled BMW backlight still only works when it feels like it. Pickups have already been delayed, and recalls are already being talked about. Fittings have dropped off the luggage rack, and there have been other issues with the luggage locking system. Gearbox seals are also leaking straight from the factory, and there have been problems with recurring gear selection issues. Some people not being able to select neutral, others who have multiple gear selection problems. Yes, all companies have occasional recalls, but BMW have had so many recalls over recent years, it's getting silly. Finish on the 1300 has also been criticised as much worse than the 1250 too, so the 1300 GS isn't off to a good start. We knew there would be a bigger KTM too, that Zero would be bringing their new short-stop adventure bike, and Moto Guzzi would be bringing the Stelvio. We knew Kawasaki were closer with the new hybrid motorcycle, but how close was anyone's guess. And to be honest, I don't know anyone who's excited about it at all. Royal Enfield would finally be bringing the new 450 Himalayan, and possibly a 650 Scrambler too. Ducati had the Super Quadro 650, and there were rumours that Honda would be introducing their new electronic clutch on something, but no word on what. Some new engines that were unveiled are the Aprilia 450 Twin and the 2V Twin Moto Morini engines. CF Moto had a 450 Twin, a 504 and a 650 Triple. Then we have the Triumph 400cc engine that will power the Speed 400 and Scrambler 400X. There was also the 250cc engine for the new MX bike, all actually built by Bajaj Group in India. More of a surprise was that Zontes turned up with a new 700cc triple engine, and Keeway Group came with a 1000cc 90-degree V-twin. Was there anything we didn't know about before the show? Were there any surprises at all? Well, I will get to that. Just a quick note, if you enjoy it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You will get regular updates with news and views, adventures and more from the world of motorbikes. If you like a good read, you'll find the complete article on the website in the link below in the description. You can contact me via the contact form on the website too if you need to. Anyway, to the bikes. So, was there anything really new in 2023? Well, We did get a few things actually. Not a complete surprise, but one of the more exciting looking bikes was the Fantic 300 Enduro, powered by the new Morini XE300 fuel-injected two-stroke engine that's been in development for 3 years. Fantic have deep connections with Yamaha, who own Morini, and the frame looks like it was lifted straight from the YZ range. The engine may well have design features drawn from the Yamaha too, but it is Italian designed and built, not just a bored-out version of the YZ250. For a start, it has a hydraulic clutch with a Brembo master cylinder, which I know many YZ riders have been calling for. Two-stroke genius Jan Witteveen, who worked on the Gilera and then Aprilia race teams, was brought in by Morini a couple of years ago, and as one of the most renowned two-stroke wizards of the modern era, has helped bring this engine from a carb-fed prototype to a race-ready fuel-injected monster of a dirt bike. It has twin-port injection as well as an electric start. Fully adjustable Kove suspension is fitted and gives you 11.8 inches of travel at the front and 12.4 inches of travel at the rear. You get Nissan brakes and an Arrow exhaust system, and it has a multi-level traction control system that's adjustable on the fly via a simple handlebar map switch. They talk about a revolutionary cooling system, but I'm struggling to find details of how it's so revolutionary. If anyone knows, then please tell us in the comments. Dry weight is 107 kilos or 236 pounds, which is exactly where it should be, and seat height is 38 inches. I couldn't find the ground clearance, but it looks pretty good. The engine and chassis are very compact. This bike is Euro 5 compliant on emissions, so is a new road-legal two-stroke dirt bike that has, I think, a lot of potential. It doesn't have ABS, but is street legal in Europe because of its classification as an enduro bike. However, it does have multiple engine maps and adjustable traction control. Price is set at just over €10,000, so it isn't a cheap option, but the company does seem to be on a mission to expand its share of the market. There is a factory spec XEF version too that is, it seems, even more race ready, but I don't have any real details of that yet. There is a new 700cc Caballero too, which uses the Yamaha CP2 engine used in the Tenere and others. Then there is the Ducati Super Quadro Mono 650 Hypermotard, a 650cc bike disguised as a 700cc Supermoto, but I've said enough about that already, as you will see in the video linked above. One of the bigger surprises was from Zontes, who came with an unannounced 700cc triple engine, which is their biggest offering to date. It is featured in a sports bike and in the Zontes ZT700RR adventure bike. Both looked like they were pretty much production ready. Rumour has it that these are the first of a modular range of engines, similar to the way Triumph began at their rebirth. So we should get at least 2 different capacity triples, and then a 4-pot version using the same block. This means in time we will get a 1000cc 4-cylinder engine. The Zontes ZT700RR could be one of those unsung stars from the show. It has a distinct and quite different look. It has a nice looking set of tubeless spoke rims with a 21-inch wheel up front and an 18-inch rear. 4 protection bars and a sump guard are fitted, and the exhaust is run high to keep it out of the way of damage, unlike many modern adventure bikes. A full luggage system, a big screen and an all-aluminium chassis finish up the package well, and I'm hoping this will be a smaller, lighter and more off-road capable bike than the old Triumph Tiger 800, which never quite got the rally treatment until the latest 900cc iteration. Details were thin on the ground, but the engine will produce around 100 horsepower and 85 Nm of torque on the adventure bike, and 110 horsepower and 70 Nm of torque on the ZT700RR sports bike. With the return of the Benelli Triple, the Keeway Triple and the CF Moto 675 Triple, as well as the Yamaha Triumph and MV Agusta offerings, we will be spoiled for choice in the 3-cylinder sector, which is great news. We finally got the Royal Enfield 450 Himalayan too, as well as an electric Himalayan concept bike. I do just wish they'd put tubeless rims on it, although it looks like they may be fitted to the rally model, so will hopefully be available as extras. I still think it should be lighter, and the exhaust looks absolutely terrible, as well as being in a very vulnerable position. Only time will tell how people react to the new model. The air-cooled lump is one of the things that set Royal Enfield apart for me. I was disappointed that we didn't even get a look at the new 650 Scrambler that's been seen in spy shots. You would think it shouldn't take that long in development. Then, of course, we have the Triumph single-cylinder 400s made by Bajaj Group. The global reveal happened what seems like eons ago now. They arrived at the show again and have been doing the rounds with the journos. They are available already in India where they are made, but we still won't get them until the new year, and then only if you've put a deposit down first. So almost a year after the hype started, it still continues. There is already talk of a new Thruxton 400 Model 2, even though the first models haven't even arrived in the showrooms yet. We did get a new 450 twin-cylinder adventure bike though. CF Moto revealed the 450 MT. Initially, the weight was quoted as 175 kilos, but that was a dry weight, so after being initially more excited, I was a bit disappointed in the end. The 450 MT does have fully adjustable key arbor suspension front and back, with around 8 inches of wheel travel, which is better than most. It has a 21-inch front wheel and tubeless spoke rims, and an adjustable screen. Foot pegs have removable inserts, and it has pretty good 220mm ground clearance, so it ticks a lot of boxes. You get a 5-inch TFT display and Bluetooth connectivity, and importantly, ABS can be switched off at the rear wheel. Price hasn't been announced yet, but the 450 SR has been priced at £5,600, so it will likely be under £6,000 for the 450 MT, making it a little cheaper than the Honda CB500X, and with what looks like a lot more off-road potential. I just wish it had been closer to 175 kilos wet. We got a very short look at their new MTX Concept too, but to be honest, it just looks like the next incarnation of the KTM 890 Adventure. We didn't see anything about the 675 Triple or the 504, which I featured in the video linked above, but give them time, I guess. We got 2 new Moto Morini V-twin engines and the bikes that they have spawned as well. I first heard about a new 1200X Cape last year when I did this video linked above, but I'd given up after hearing nothing since. Now, we have both a 750cc and a 1200cc engine and multiple bikes. I'm looking into the engine to see what has been carried over from the original 1200cc Corsaro engine, because this isn't just a copy. As far as bikes go, we got a 750 Corsaro, a 750 Corsaro Sport, a Milano 1200 and an X-Cape 1200. The 750 Corsaro Sport looks like it could have been lifted straight out of the Ducati showrooms, and the other bikes do look interesting. So far, reliability with the X-Cape 650 has been pretty good, so it has obviously given Moto Morini confidence to expand their range, which has to be a good thing. Then there were some bikes from the Keeway group. A TX450 Rally, which looks less rally and more light adventure bike, but does look very interesting. And they also gave us a glimpse of a new 1000cc V-twin adventure bike too. This, I would think, will feature the same 1000cc V-twin engine as the MVP C1002V, which would give it around 90 horsepower and around 90 Nm of torque. It's a slower revving engine when compared to the Ducati and KTM V-twins, but not slow revving like a Harley. I imagine the engine will have characteristics similar to the old Yamaha TR1. It should have plenty of low down grunt, so unless it's too heavy, it should make an excellent power plant for a new adventure bike. MVP, who are part of the Keeway group, bought the engine in a new 1000cc V-twin cruiser called the C1002V. It's already available in the UK, but I know very little about it, to be honest. I have seen it in showrooms, and the build quality looks pretty good. They're another company that talk about having a design house in Italy and manufacturing in China. Then Beta gave us several new bikes, but the two that looked the most interesting were the new Alp X and the Alp 4.0. Both powered by a 350cc water-cooled 4-stroke engine that produces 35 horsepower and is mated to a 6-speed box. The Alp X is an off-road bias scrambler, a scrambler actually built for the dirt. It comes with a 19-inch front wheel and a 17-inch rear, has a decent bash plate as standard. The pegs have removable inserts and it comes with some luggage options too, so I think it will make a great all-round bike. The Alp 4.0 is even more off-road biased. It comes with a 21-inch front wheel and 18-inch rear and weighs in at just 140 kilos dry, which is pretty light. You get 270mm of ground clearance, but you get a decent pillion seat, luggage options, and generally a bit more refinement than your average dirt bike or dual sport. The 11-litre tank could be bigger, and in my view is the biggest mistake. That might be big enough for a dirt bike, but one of them at least should have the option of a bigger fuel tank. Even 15 litres would have given it a bit more of an acceptable range. I haven't been able to get service intervals yet, so you will have to watch the main Beta website for that information. Beta did also bring their 2-stroke competition bikes, which I have to say seem to get better year by year. The Beta 300 Xtrainer is another 2-stroke that's heating into the market of bikes from the CRF 300 to full-on dirt bikes, so there does seem to be a bit of a renaissance as far as the 2-strokes are concerned, which has to be good news. So there were some definite new additions, just not maybe coming from where you would expect. Take out the marketing bullshit, and there were actually some interesting new bikes on show. However, did any of the big 4 Japanese manufacturers actually bring anything new? I guess the closest was the Honda CBR650 with Honda's new electronic clutch, and the Yamaha XSR900GP. There was a small electric Kawasaki too, I guess, but alas, in reality, not much. Yes, we had the delivery of the new parallel twin platforms from Honda and Suzuki, but they are last year's news now. This year, I've seen nothing really new come out of any of the Big Four's portfolios. There are rehashes and redressed versions of the same thing, and bigger or faster or different styles of the same thing, but nothing really new. BMW and KTM are no better either. Is it laziness? Is it because they, probably more than anybody else, are trying to operate within tightening world regulations? Is it because of the downturn in the Japanese economy? Or are they scared to step out of their comfortable position? I will leave you to ponder that one. One thing I think is very relevant to us Brits is that so many big companies didn't even bother to coming to Motorcycle Live. There are always some missing, but not usually the big players like Moto Guzzi. What does that say about the importance of the UK market now? This is something I've been looking at, and in the various countries I've looked at, there does seem to be a very different approach to advertising and marketing. From what I see, although it isn't on the level it was in the 80s and 90s, in the US, motorcycle advertising is still a regular feature on TV and other traditional advertising. If some US viewers can let me know in the comments how that differs from state to state, that would be really interesting. In Spain, where they tend to keep their bikes for much longer than we do in the UK, you see far more brand advertising for actual motorcycles. In France, and even more so in the UK, the advertising we see is much more likely to be for accessories and upgrades than it is for the bikes themselves. It is used on social media more than traditional advertising like TV too. I can't actually remember the last time I saw a TV advert for a motorcycle in the UK. In India, in the cities, you will be hard-pressed to go anywhere without seeing some advertising, and China is in a similar state. Australia, Canada and New Zealand, I'm not so sure about. So again, let me know in the comments what the advertising landscape there is like if you could. The big players in the industry think very carefully to maximise the return from their advertising spend. Does this mean the industry in general has given up on the UK? Could the industry itself be doing more to attract new customers, and especially young riders where you live? Another big bugbear of mine is graphics. I'm sorry, but new paint or graphics does not mean it's a new bike. It's a colour variant, that's all, nothing more and nothing less. I said last year in the video linked above that I thought that the 400 to 500cc sector of the market was set to become the new Battleground, and it seems I've been proven right. But one question I have been asking is why do so many bikes like the Aprilia 450 Twin never make it to the UK? Why is it that over the years, wherever we are, we just never see some models? Think of all the Goldwings there are in the US now, yet in the UK, finding a decent old one is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Yet I know we got many bikes that would seem to have fitted the US market better. Australia seems to be another anomaly, where different ranges entirely were launched at times. Are these companies now too frightened of losing sales of their bigger, more expensive bikes if they release smaller capacity machines that are too capable? Is that the reason it has taken so long to see a dirt-ready 450 to 600cc twin adventure bike that weighs under 175 kilos, has a 21-inch front wheel, good suspension, decent ground clearance and space for two? The rule of more might make sense for manufacturers, but where will it end? Who are the customers and what do they want? In the UK, the existing rider community is getting older and, without putting too fine a point on it, dying. In general, many are now looking for smaller, lighter bikes. Sales of sports bikes where the riding position is extreme fell off a cliff years ago. Sales of bigger ADV bikes have reached their peak, and advertising is at an all-time low. We also have the problem that the focus of dealers now seems to be on finance deals, clothing lines and extras, and the level of aftercare by most dealers is woeful. This has all seen overall sales suffer, particularly with new younger riders. It has also seen the rise of the mega dealerships and sales rooms. I use the term mega dealerships for places who stock multiple big brands but have few, if any, specialist technicians who know the brands. And the sales rooms as those places filled by bikes bought by the We Buy Your Bike companies that now seem to be everywhere. Most, even the main dealers, simply employ fitters, not real mechanics. So outside of everyday servicing or replace and refit services, they are lost. Computer diagnostics have taken over from specialist knowledge, and the small specialists are finding it harder and harder. Engines get even more complicated to make non-main dealer servicing more difficult, and electronics are often made to be dealer dependent. Yes, I know there are many ways around that with some bikes, but it's not always possible. And it all goes to make the rider less independent and more reliant on the dealerships, which again, I don't see as a good thing. It wouldn't be so bad if they kept a stock of parts, but they don't. How often do you go in and ask for something to be told, yes, it'll be here in 7 days, then go back and look on eBay to find that you can find it cheaper and with next day delivery? How any of this works to attract new riders when low cost of point of entry was central to why most people chose motorbikes in the first place is beyond me. Anyway, that's going off on a tangent again. What I was thinking about was what new riders want. Watching the industry trends, while the rest of the world gets more smaller, more economical bikes, we get bigger, more expensive, high-tech bikes. Is that really what you want? If not, the answer's simple. Vote with your feet. It's amazing how fast the industry can react when it wants to. That brings me nicely to something else I want to talk about, and I think it's very relevant, and that is the rise of what I will call bullshit marketing. I will use the term bullshit marketing because that's what it is. Remember that statement. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. Here, it can be applied equally well to marketing bullshit. It's relatively easy to make something sound faster, more powerful, and more alluring than it is. Advertising execs have been practicing their art for a long time, but the age of digital creation has given them endless new opportunities. They've spent decades now convincing people that bigger is better, then just made everything bigger, heavier, more expensive, and more powerful, until there are many bikes out there that are now well beyond the capabilities of the average rider. Where will it end? Will we end up with a 4-litre V6 soon, weighing half a ton and needing a reverse gear to get it out of the garage? Oh, wait, we have them already, pretty much. What happened? I know different markets want different things, but if you look at the actual weight of motorcycles over the years, what the market calls a middleweight now is the size and weight of what the biggest bikes were just a few years ago. I do think laziness comes into it. The conditioning that they have done over the years means they think all they have to do is put a bigger number on it and we will buy it. They don't even think they need to put a bigger engine in now. BMW and Triumph are both using different numbers for what are essentially the same engine. If it's a 900cc engine, call it a 900, not 1000 or an 800 or a 700 depending on tuning. Ducati seems to have joined them now too, trying to make a 650 sound bigger than the 690 KTM by calling it a 698. I still don't know where that 698 number comes from. This is a bad trend as far as I'm concerned, and I don't like the way it seems all of those companies view the intellect of their customers. But then I remember how many people seem to fall for the hype. The latest example of complete bullshit is how the new BMW 1300 GS is 12 kilos lighter than the 1250. Well, let's look at that. The base model 1300 weighs in at just 237 kilos, whereas the base model 1250 was 249 kilos. The new drivetrain is theoretically 6 kilos lighter, but where has the rest of the weight change come from? Well, the new 1300 GS doesn't have a centre stand fitted, so there's the first saving. It's also fitted with a lithium battery, which saves another 2 kilos. Then you lose the rear rack, passenger grab rail and a proper passenger seat. None of them are fitted to the new 1300 as standard. Using cast wheels instead of the spoke wheels of the 1250 saves more too, and means you have to add the spoke wheels to the extras list. The exhaust is listed as lighter too. There is more, but look at this and you will soon see how the figures really stack up. Take the centre stand off your 1250, swap to a lithium battery, take the rack and passenger grab rails off and swap the exhaust for a lighter silencer, and magically your 1250 will be just as light as the new 1300. The moans list does go on too. No backlit switches and no Brembo Stylema brakes on a range-topping bike. Next, and related, showing pro riders doing jumps and aerial stunts on adventure bikes is getting ridiculous. Most are barely used to go for coffee and breakfast. Most don't have a crew of people with a spares truck to pick up the broken pieces following them, and we don't usually have the luxury of having multiple takes for the same photo opportunity. Most riders have nowhere near the skill levels needed to pull off the sort of stunts they make out that you can do if you buy one of their bikes. I once heard one of the Triumph reps say, "Yes, but you're selling them a dream." Well, I'm sorry, I want reality, not a dream. Anyway, back to the shows again. Having said all I've said, there were some interesting bikes at EICMA, and a few made it as far as Motorcycle Live. The most exciting ones for me are mainly in the new smaller capacity middleweight sector. The CF Moto 450 MT was one of the most interesting, although it does seem that the weight was underrepresented a little to make it stand out as lighter from the competition. It is better equipped and more powerful than either the Triumph 400 single or the Royal Enfield 450 Himalayan, and it has all the advantages a twin gives for road riding. It has the 21-inch front wheel of the Himalayan for off-road, and tubeless rims too. That probably makes it a better all-round package than either the Triumph or the Royal Enfield in my eyes. I do like the look of the new Beta Scramblers too. They don't look like they're quite ready to be adventure bikes yet, but they seem to be aiming for the market that the Fantic Caballero cornered so well. With small tanks and short service intervals, they aren't going to trouble the likes of the Tenere A700 and its rivals, but they are light and will be more capable off-road than any of the present scramblers and ADV bikes. I have heard very good things about the reliability too in recent years. How will they sit in the dual sport marketplace? Given the choice of the new Himalayan, the Triumph 400X, the CF Moto 450 MT, and the Beta Alp X or 4, which would you choose and why? In some ways, I would say the Beta 4 with the bigger oil supply and longer service intervals and a bigger fuel tank would sound very interesting. I had hoped the Fantic Caballero would grow into that role, but alas it didn't. I would have liked to see a 450 Touareg with less electronics, using the new Aprilia 450 twin engine, but it didn't arrive. Maybe next year? So, the CF Moto 450 twin does probably stand out as the motorcycle that attracted my attention the most at the show. The 450 twin engine should make a great ADV bike. Let us hope it is as good as the specs describe. I do just wish it had been a little lighter. Lastly, a few things that stood out in the wrong way. Hasn't one told Moto Guzzi that it's a stupid idea to have the exhaust headers on the outside of the engine on an ADV bike? It might be a great looking bike, but it means those headers will be the first thing to get destroyed in a tumble off-road. Is it me, or is that not just really obvious? Also, something else I don't understand. When you have a practical and well-selling bike, why would you completely rebrand it without making any serious changes? Yes, I'm talking about the not Honda CB500X, which they are now calling the NX500. Why? What was the point, really? I would rather they spent the money they spent on rebranding and paying the advertising exec on making the bike better. Give us the rally version people have been shouting for, long travel suspension, or making it a bit lighter, giving it tubeless spoke rims, a power-up chip for after somebody's passed their test or for A1 licence holders, a high-level exhaust, and a serious bash plate are just a few things that would make the bike better. But no, just rebrand it and put some fresh bodywork on. It'll be okay. Will we now get a slightly cheaper version of the Transalp with a 19-inch front wheel too, to lure those people who would have bought a CB500X into spending a little more? Will the CB500X be dropped entirely, or will we get another case of 7 bikes that are essentially 2? A CB500 and a CB500X, an NX500 and an NX500X Rally, which might be interesting, and a Transalp GT and Rally to go with the standard Transalp. The next point I touched on earlier, but come on Triumph, Ducati and BMW, do you really think your customers are so dumb? Sorry, I forgot you'd already answered that question. So, I will ask you, the customers, a question. Would you buy a motorcycle from a company that thinks you are stupid? So, in conclusion, Ducati and KTM are taking pot shots at each other's markets. Triumph and Ducati think they are the best at everything. The Japanese are content to be patient and pick up the pieces, but the Chinese are listening, so may pick all the pieces up before the Japanese get there, just like the Japanese did with the Brits in the 1970s. I do think the CF Moto 450 MT and the Beta 4 Alp are probably the highlights of the show for me. I want a small, light, but capable ADV bike that doesn't cost a fortune, is fine on highways and in the dirt, and has a passenger seat that will keep the gorgeous one comfortable. Am I asking too much? Also, I know the shows are a big thing for many YouTubers, but some occasional criticism would be nice rather than constant brand nosing. If you don't want to see the negatives, you might as well just watch the different companies' own marketing material, surely. It would be really nice to hear something like, the paint on these is a bit rubbish, or why didn't they fit stainless steel brake lines? These switches really tacky. Something, anything. Rant over for today anyway. I wonder how many of the bikes that were unveiled this year actually make it to the market before the end of 2024. We shall see, I guess. Triumph have now said that the MX bike is ready, and I will be doing a video about the foray of Triumph and Ducati into the MX world soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. There are plenty more on the channel and the website if you get the chance to look around. You might see some that you've missed. If you got this far and haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing will mean you find out first when our regular updates, news, views and other videos go out each and every week. Please share the video with anyone you think will be interested too if you could. It all helps the channel get out there to new viewers and kicks the YouTube algorithm into gear. It is coming up to presents time too, so don't forget, we do the best t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, phone cases and so much more it's hard to list it all without it getting overwhelming. You can visit the website or the Redbubble shop linked in the description below, or drop me a line and message via the contact page on the BAREBONESMC website if you can't find what you want. There are many more exciting motorcycle adventures and other stories from the shed and beyond on the website too, so why not grab yourself a cuppa and take a look around. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching. I hope the roads aren't too icy where you are. Ride free, everyone.